Yeah, man. Geez, it's been what, 10 years, almost to the date. Not like close to, but like what, 30th of June. When was that?
That was like this is like 2 months ago, a month ago.
So roundabout, like it's almost been close to like the date 10 years ago.
Yeah,
What happened 10 years ago? Like,
bruh.
dude, where were you 10 years ago? I'd say.
Bro, I was in grade 5? I was in grade 5, primary school.
Crazy.
Doing my thing, and bro, you know, bro, what the fuck, bro?
What's wrong?
What the fuck? Did I just zone out?
You
Did I just
no,
zone out?
you can run it back. It's
Did
okay.
I just zone? Bro, I was going down memory lane actually, bro. Like all the primary school events, the athletic events.
Okay.
Me, I'm used to Taylor Swift playing there.
Okay.
Abu, who's that other one? Katy Perry,
Oh.
California Girls and stuff like that.
That's a throwback.
Bro. And now we got to a point where we have mega stars, South African mega stars.
Yeah, South African
that get
megastars.
played
Yeah.
in like big shows, bruh. In like events, even down to primary school, bruh. Playing Jealousy. Like, bro, that was our turn-up song.
That was our turn-up song.
That was
actually.
our turn-up
Especially
song.
around that time.
Yeah.
It was you couldn't avoid it. And I think what's nice is the fact that, like, looking back, like you could say that, hey, like we had homegrown talent that were just like absolutely all over the radio and just like, literally dominating like everywhere. And yeah, I think that really kind of culminates into basically what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And pretty much we had this idea, probably just like we didn't actually realize it was 10 years up until like not too long ago, and we just that it's really been 10 years since levels AKA's levels dropped. And goodness me, man, it's I think for me, since I'm a very big fan of AKA, I'd say it's a bit of a bittersweet knowing that it's been almost 10 years since he dropped this project, but knowing that he's no longer with us, it's a bit of a, but I think in a sense,
make it live long, man.
yeah, definitely. But I'd say for one thing, it's more of like a poignant tribute in a sense, just like to say for his legacy. And I think, yeah, man, I was very excited when you came to me with the idea, and I think we're gonna have a very lovely discussion about this awesome album. But yeah, I think why don't we just pretty much get into it then?
Let's get into it. To all the listeners who are new here, we have a certain criteria that we use to do album reviews, whether it's any project, song review, mixtape review, EP review, and it goes like this: artist performance.
Mm-hmm.
How did the artist perform on the album from track 1 to the outro? The next one is features.
Uh-huh.
The selection of the features and how did the collaborations made sense for the album. The next one is production.
How did it sound? How did it make you feel when you heard it? Like, in terms of just all of that, those bits and bobs, basically.
Yeah. And did it push the needle?
That's actually, yeah. Did it push the needle, especially for that time, especially now that we're reviewing an album that was quite, most of the time we obviously we're gonna try and like do a lot of different kinds of reviews from different eras, but I'd say especially these types of album reviews that look back, it's kind of nice just to look back and see how did it sound back then and how does it sound in comparison to now. So yeah.
And the next one, of course, is the content. After listening to this body of work, what sticked to you and what can you talk about when you're talking about this album in a few years' time? Or maybe even right after listening to it, can you get into a deep discussion about the album?
What did it say to you, basically? More in the sense of just like, because not every album will say something, maybe, but I'd say in the sense of just like what, from us, in the sense of like when we listen to this album, what are the certain things, whether it's a certain message that they wanted to express or whether it's just, it's basically in that regard, because again, music touches us in a lot of different ways. So yeah, I think more or less in that regard, basically.
And probably the most important aspect of music when artists are making a body of work, replay value.
Yeah, replay value. I think replay value is probably the one thing that can work in favor or against an album, because if an album hasn't aged well, when you look back at it, not a lot of people, will go back to it in any case, because it's like, it was fine for the time, but if you go back to it, it's like, so yeah, I think I would say our criteria is quite fair. It touches on all bases, and it really just I think it touches on everything that we need to talk about, basically, in terms of albums and just projects as a whole.
Yeah, and at the end of it all, we'll take artist performance out of 10, the different criteria out of 10, and have an overall rating for the body of work out of 10, with 10 being perfect, 9 being amazing, 8 being great, 7 being a good album, 6 okay, 5 mid, 4 to 1 that's bad, atrocious, horrible, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah, all the interesting words that you want to use, basically. Yeah. So yeah. But I think let's get into it then.
Yeah. Artist performance, bro.
Artist performance. I don't know if you want to lead us into the way in terms of what your thoughts were in terms of AKA's performance on this particular project.
I'm gonna keep it simple.
Okay.
I think AKA's performance was amazing, bro, to say the least. Because I feel like from Alter Ego to Levels, you could feel the transition from an upcoming artist who's trying to pave his way into the industry to a guy who is now staking his claim in the South African hip hop industry, bro. I can feel it with his cadence, the way he like coincided with the beats, coincided with the productions. I can feel it with the way he like put out his AKA. Let me just say, he was super mega. He was super mega on this project, bro.
I love that you said that, because I feel like this album sort of kind of was the genesis of the super mega alter ego, in a sense, no pun intended, but basically in the sense that, like, you could tell, as you said, from alter ego to Levels, you could tell that he was still an artist trying to figure out what their sound was, what he wanted to sound like, how he wanted his music to be translated to his audience, and just how he wanted it for himself. And you can tell that this is where he really just found, because I'd say from this album, this is mainly like how AKA would just like, kind of deliver in terms of his projects, like forthcoming, and I'd say in terms of performance, this was really such a big moment for SA hip hop, and you could tell like he really just like said that I want to like do everything that I can to stake my claim, as you said, and just to let people know that I am no longer the prince, because at that point he was touted as the prince of SA hip hop, and I'm just saying, nope, I'm taking the crown, basically. Like, I'm staking my claim. I want to be the guy of SA hip hop. So I'd say, just to keep it in branch in terms of his performance, I'd say it was stellar, and I'd say if we're gonna go into like specific tracks, I'd like obviously the first song that I go for, because I think in terms of as a performance, geez man, Run Josie for me in terms of as a project, like lyrically, that was his best performance from a lyrical standpoint, in my opinion, because again, when you have the next person that we're going to touch on in our next segment, but when you have an artist like that, that you need to like bring it, like you really need to bring it. And I'd say if just like to start out in terms of that performance itself was the highlight of the project. But the thing is, this album, he doesn't just go in terms of just like the rapping, quick rapping, fast rapping type of thing.
No.
You can tell that he was very comfortable in terms of like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to, he didn't want to box himself in. I think that was such a cool thing as well.
Facts. His commanding presence too. You could feel that this was an AKA album.
Yeah.
Even though you touched on the guy that we're going to touch on in the next segment.
Yeah.
I like the way he came back with the second verse. I
like
the way he came back with the second verse. Like, I'm not gonna allow you to body me on my own song.
Pretty much, yeah.
True. That goes into what that adds more to what we're saying. Like the braggadocious, aka, like was evident in this body of work, bro. And I like the way he balanced introspective and the braggadocious with ease, bro.
Yeah, you could tell that there wasn't too much of an inconsistent balance, because sometimes an artist could try and move more to like, I want to be very introspective, and then all of a sudden just switch it and just like say, oh yeah, I'm in the car, I'm pimping, you know what I'm doing. So I'd say again, that's something that was very evident to see that he clearly said that I want to obviously tout my claim, saying I'm that guy, nobody's on my level, no one is doing what I'm doing right now, but also just like bare his heart and just be very introspective and just very like honest and true to himself. I think songs like Let Me Show You, I'd say for me, I think you touched before we started recording how it was one of the deep cuts per se, in terms of like a song that really goes under the radar, and you can tell again a performance where he really just wanted to be very open and honest and just very just like so.
Was that a Bonang song? Sorry for like going out of topic. Did you think that was a Bonang song? Was Zinhle?
Thing is, I think it was a Zinhle song. To be fair, I think that the timeline doesn't really fit for it. To be fair, we don't really know. Anyways, let me say
that just showcases Super Mega's versatility. And bro, just to end off the segment, what words would you use to describe AKA's artist performance on this album?
You put me on the spot now. Jeez. In terms of art, like if I were to put it in one word, I'd say, damn. I'll just say this. I'll say it was concise. If that makes sense. I'd say it was very concise, because again, he was not all over the place. He was not, his thoughts were not like, you could tell that, okay, I know that in this performance, in this album, I want to make a statement. I want to make a shockwave. I want to do something. And I know that for me to do that, I need to make sure that I am near flawless in every single song. No one can really like have any type of criticism, because again, I look at songs like Congratulate, I look at songs like Control, I look at songs like Sim Dope. You can tell that this guy was very much, when you say someone was in their bag, this is an album where you can clearly tell that AK was just 100% unabashedly just like saying, I'm gonna do this. So I'd say concise for me, definitely.
For me, I'd go versatility.
Versatility,
bro. All
right,
I'd go versatility. And now to our rating of his artist performance, I'd give it a 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10
is fair. I think it was a great artist performance, bro.
I'd say 8 out of 10 is fair. I like that. I think I was gonna push it up to a 9 for me. Just because again, can we just like I know I am a member of the Mega. See, I'm a super mega fan, but I made sure that I recorded this as professionally and as unbiased as possible. So, but I'm definitely gonna give it a 9. I'd say every single song that he's on, every single verse, every single singing hook, you could tell that he took care. He made sure that he made it a priority, that he took care of it. He didn't rush it, because I think I'm just looking back at the time frame from Alter Ego to Levels, that was like a 2-3 year period. So you could tell that he really wanted to make sure that this project was absolutely perfect in every way. And I'd say in terms of his performance, it's near faultless, to be fair. I just feel like in every performance he really he gave it his all. And I'd say for me,
I like took off that one point.
Okay.
There were a few duds on the artist performance side, especially on Sunshine and the Pressure song with Reason.
Okay, duds is okay. I'd say that's a harsh word to use, but I can understand where you're coming from, in the sense that one thing that I can tell about AKA was that he really, especially on this project, he really wanted to push the envelope in terms of what SA music sounded like. He really wanted to, branch out and do different things in terms of just like, yes, this is not what SA music sounds like, excuse me, but I want to make it what it sounds like. I want to introduce this. And I'd say for me, definitely, it's questionable per se, in the sense of like, but for me, I'd say again, even when we're looking at his performance, I'd say that, you could say that, but for me, I'd say again, even the way that he would deliver his lines, the way that he would just have this sort of conviction and this, passion about, I'm definitely going to be on my, let's go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, I would say probably like, a 9. A 9 is fair for me in any case, because it's near faultless, as I said. So, yeah.
I'll go 8.
Yeah, fair.
On to our next segment. It's the features. And I don't think there's anywhere else to start other than Ranjosi.
Yeah, again, yeah. I think you wanna. I feel like you wanna just hit us away. So go ahead.
I mean, KO, man. We always knew that Skanda King. He was that guy. I mean, he used to like go light jabs there with Bontugs and Bomai. Really, I don't want to be a landslide. Yeah. But now it was against another heavyweight in the game.
The Omega.
And bro, didn't he just like come in and just like set alight the song, bro? My flow is so hazardous. Mpanagisi, can nobody handle this? What?
I think.
What? Come on, bro.
I think just touching specifically on that verse, I'd say KO had just left He had just left Tear Gas at that point. So that was
no disrespect to Tear Gas, man. One of the best groups in SA.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying in the sense of like, again, if we're just looking at the features, that he had just left Tear Gas. So that was a big moment for him in the sense of like he really needed to stake his claim in terms of as a solo artist. And I'd say, again, as a rap performance, Ranjosi was the highlight. And you can clearly tell that, specifically with that feature, absolutely just like, he really stole the show. He really stole the show. Like, for the fact that AKA had to add a second verse onto the song, that kind of says a lot. Not taking anything away from AKA's performance.
It was a 5-second verse.
It was, as you said, but
it had to happen. It had to be there.
But again, if we're looking at like a feature that really just like stole the show, KO's verse on Ranjosi, like it's known very much in the lexicon of SA hip hop culture that hey. Yeah, I'm sorry, he really, and it's funny that AKA and KO seem to always have this very friendly competition on especially on songs that they were featured together in. So again, this was no different. But I think definitely, highlight in terms of feature. But just to, in terms of features as a whole, I'd say this album really kind of, you could tell that AKA, he was someone who was very for the spirit of collaboration. You could tell that this project,
definitely.
You could tell that he really wanted to collaborate with a lot of different people, a lot of different artists, and just use all of their different talents to make this very. You can tell that he was very much excited just to work with, and he works well with a lot of these artists. I'd say definitely he works well with a lot of them. I don't know if there's any other standout performances from you in terms of features that were notable for you.
I think I'd go on to the next song. I don't know if he wasn't credited as a feature actually on the song. Congratulate. I feel like JR also did his thing there.
Yeah, even though he didn't necessarily have like a verse, but like you can tell, he can hear him in the backing vocals. Yeah. But that's another person who, again, very good collaborator with AKA. You can tell they made a gem there. They definitely made a gem. And again, I look at songs, obviously, I think another collaboration that you can't not talk about when talking about this album was All Eyes on Me. I'd say that was the collaboration song in terms of an ultimate collab. I think it swept in all the award shows for collaborations at every award show in the country.
MTV Mamas, the African Music Awards.
Oh yes.
MTV best collaboration. Everyone knew it was a clean sweep.
And again, this is his frequent collaborator in L.E.S, another JR song that he was credited on, and a not so known Burna Boy, who was pretty well known in West Africa, but not necessarily from a global sense, and even here in Southern Africa.
Hey man, we changed his life, man.
Yeah, that's funny.
We changed his life, man.
That's funny.
But shout out Burna Boy, man.
He and again, just from the moment that he just up to the car, and you're just like, he just and he takes you away. Like, he's just like, oh goodness, like, whoa, like, this is like, this is very, and again, that's another collaboration that you can tell he really took care of that, and he said, no, I want to get the strengths of every single artist that I'm working with. Obviously, that's the idea of every single artist when they have features, but you can tell that he really was in the vein of, I want to be very collaborative, because again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do something on your own, but another thing that is very cool is the fact that he got people like I think Sunshine, a song that you have very much said you do not like,
I don't like that song.
One of my favorites, I don't like
it. It's one of the duds, actually,
I'd say. Anyways, you say you have J Something, who was kind of sort of bubbling up with Mikasa, and again, a very, very nice, beautiful hook for a lovely summer song, just like, and okay, Sarkodie, maybe I'd say he was the one performance in this album in terms of as a feature that didn't really work for me, because
let's not forget Reason, man. He takes that trophy.
Reason actually did a hit. I was going to touch on Reason, actually. The song, yeah, Pressure itself, not my favorite. Even back then when I listened to it for the first time, it wasn't my favorite, but Reason's performance himself, he actually did quite a good job on that song, for me, in any case. But I'd say Sarkodie probably would be, in terms of, if we're looking at features, because I'd say that was the only one, because I'd say, in terms of a love song, you are my sunshine, and you just like, that was like very overwhelming in a song that's very sweet and soft, but again, it's fine, I guess. And sorry, just one more feature before, Control.
Funny enough, the All Eyes on Me music videos.
Is it?
Playing right
now. And I didn't even see it. I swear, I don't even know. But yeah, Control, another song that had a very great performance from L.E.S. You can tell him and L.E.S were very, very great collaborators. They were very good. They understood each other. They were on the same wavelength.
Fact.
And yeah, man, I think as a whole, I'd say features, again, I'll reiterate the fact that AKA was very much in the vein of collaborating. I want all of us to come together and just work with our talents and just do something amazing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add. I've been yapping so much.
No, I feel like the features were carefully selected and added so much value to this album.
Yeah.
Because
for
me specifically, this was my introduction to West African artists like Burna Boy and Sarkodie. And that was huge for the African hip-hop movement.
That's
not
true.
Just for South African hip-hop. And another thing is that these features, you mentioned that these features, they complemented AKA so much in this.
True.
And they gave us bangers on bangers.
Bangers, yeah.
Classics, All Eyes on Me. Probably I'd put it as one of the best collaborations in
definitely
hip-hop.
If not African music history. Obviously, we're not as tapped in with African music, but I'll just say from our regard. But I'd say I agree with you in that sense. And just to add on, with an album, right, it's features. If you have good features, a good feature or good features can always take, or I feel like, in my opinion, can take a good album into a great album.
Facts.
Because as much as one can try and do it alone, and we've seen that on multiple occasions, collaborating with other people, people who are able, to bring different things that you have, but you also just, again, the word complementing, they complemented one another. Everyone just seemed to gel. It made like this cute, lovely cesspool of just like loveliness and just great things. And I'd say, again, features was very much a standout part of this album. And credit to AKA for seeing the need to be very collaborative, especially with his African brethren, and even with the SA talents, one of the best SA talents in the country at the time. Rating. I think people are gonna think I'm busy. I'm gonna give it a 9 as well. I'd say, obviously, if it went for just the very odd, if you remove Sarkodie, for me, some people might say Sarkodie's verse was fire, which is okay, and the thing is, I don't even know what he's saying, to be fair, because he's like, but I'd say for me a 9, just because removing that verse, all the other features just really worked. Even what what Stogie T, who was Tumi Molakane at the time, he just had such a nice, cute intro just to like start us off very cool, very luxurious, just to set the tone for what the album was going to be. So again, I'd say every feature really just did what they needed to do and elevated the song from one level to another level. Sorry, yeah. But yeah, I'd say for me, I'd give it a 9. I'd say definitely yeah.
Hey, bro, you're throwing out these 9s, bro. You're throwing out these 9s, bro. I'm still at 8, bro. I feel like the features were great.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, all right, it's fine.
Great features.
It's fine. But again, our musical tastes are not the same. Yeah, so that's another thing. So, but yeah, I'd say if you remove just that one feature, for me, all the features really just did what they needed to do, and they did it to an exemplary level. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now moving on to our next crisis. What? Moving on to our next segment. Content. There's a whole load of stuff to get into in this album.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here on Genius, bro. And I want to start with intellectual stuff first.
Okay,
bro.
Let's go.
Something that I think that went over a lot of people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
But AKA's Run Josie verse, bro. AKA's Run Josie verse.
Very political. Very.
And the fact that he was able to like seamlessly just fuse it into
a club banger.
Beat.
Into a club bang. And just like that time, he's like, and again, when you have such a banger of a beat, you just think that you're just gonna go into very simple, like just like, hey yo, I'm the man, I'm the best. And obviously the song itself, Run Josie, you think that this is gonna be someone saying, I am that guy, don't talk to me, don't chat to me, I'm on that thing, yeah. But again, I think you have Genius in front of you. Let's hear.
Started from bottom, was rolling around in that Tokyo Baki, Toyota
Baki, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The summer is ours, I'm hungry for power, Gaddafi. Bro, I'm gonna skip this one. You go to my school, they can't tell you shit about Chris Honey.
Yeah. And that's a line that I heard. It's funny because I've been listening to this album for the longest time, and I know the song front to back, and I've always been saying that line. I didn't actually get it, but now once you like actually start getting into like the history and stuff like that, you can tell, oh wow, that's such a interesting. You can tell in terms of just starting out like with that one, he was very much trying to have a certain conversation and just like bring up certain topics about certain things, and not a lot of artists, especially rappers, are not really going into those types of as far as I know.
Bro,
I'd say.
Let me not go into that one. It was all fun and games. Let me just put it like that. Who was just vibing.
True.
I know that those artists have other songs that they go introspective and touch on like topics that actually like matter and stuff like that. Yeah. But it was not really a norm. We didn't have a conscious voice when we look back at it. True. In SA hip hop.
So if anything, it was quite refreshing.
Yeah.
The fact that he was just going into very like certain avenues and talking about certain things. And I don't know if you still if there's any other verses that you wanna.
Bro, there is. This ain't the land of the free. No propaganda machine.
Oof.
Handle my flag on the screen. Then light a candle for Dibs.
No.
You know who Dibs is? You know who Dibs is?
I do not know who Dibs.
You don't know who Dibs is, bro. I thought you knew, bro.
I don't know who Dibs is.
I thought you knew, bro. Come on, bro.
Who's Dibs? I mean, Tibbs or... Oh, my Tibbs. My... No, the thing is the way you said it. That's the thing. No, I didn't actually. My bad.
Dibs, bro.
Okay.
Dibs. I like that. He was touching on the fact that most of our heroes aren't getting really celebrated like that.
Getting the recognition.
Fought for the movement, but the people who fought for us to have this movement, we shouldn't be championing it because it's a human right, to move around and have access to everything. But we had to go through that phase.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that is a part of our culture. That is a part of our country. And one thing that you can tell about AKA in this album, and just him as in general, he was unabashedly and unapologetically South African. And his music, I think I was on Twitter the other day and just saying, having the national anthem as a part of your hook, just thinking, oh, go see. But like
Bro.
That is really, because like at the end of the day, like, you know, you can tell that no, this guy was really just making sure that I wanna really just like say what I need to say.
Yeah.
And like, pretty much. And I think, okay, go ahead. I wanted to. There's a certain line in the song. Yeah, I don't know, something about foreign militia. Da 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 da. What does the line say?
Foreign militia on Run Josie.
Yeah, Run Josie. Yeah.
That's probably the second verse, right?
Yes, on the second verse. I don't know if you had anything more you wanted to say on the first verse. If there's any other standouts.
Nah, but other than the fact that Ish had a younger, we forgot you there with the features. But
oh my goodness!
bro,
oh my word!
You did your thing, bro.
Shame.
That, every time that part gets on, whether we're in a stadium, it's anywhere.
Yeah. No,
we
a very unknown young at the time who was just known for directing music videos and stuff like that. So that was his first like actual like introduction into SA music as an artist at all. So sorry, very much another artist that you can say just did his thing, a very cute and an awesome verse that really stands out so much, and it's so short but so poignant and so impactful. So yeah, shout out to Yanga for sure. But
going back to foreign militia, I'm on a mission like foreign militia. They're politician and hot seat. If with the guys top of the charts, name a level I can't reach.
Yeah. I'd say that was, especially with the foreign militia, that whole thing, like hot seat. And again, this is something that you very much see in like African countries as well. Like, you know, the like foreign militias like having very coups against like, you know, governments and stuff like that. So again, you can tell that he was very much tapped into what was going on, and he really wanted to express that. And again, in content, you know, a hip hop album, you don't think that an artist is going to be talking about such subject matter and in such a way as well. So
I think Run Josie has a lot of things to get into, but I think this is the most interesting thing that I've picked on. Yeah. Over listening to the album, and I think there were some few jabs to the other. You know, the other guy. Let me just mention him
the other guy. Why are we saying it as if he's like he's cancelled or something?
Nah, he ain't cancelled.
Nyo vest.
Okay.
Nyo vest. Okay,
he has this line that he goes,
okay.
Do you want progress or you want Rolex? Better make mine presidential, influential. And you know who was always flexing about Rolexes during that time?
Damn. No, but again, I think also, as much as, you know, the subject matter of Run Josie was very much in a political sense, talking about important subject matter. But again, Run Josie, he's still, it is, you can tell there's certain parts, as you said, like name a level I can't reach.
Yeah.
He was still also just trying to, again, stake his claim to say that, hey, like, I'm that guy. You know, I always say this album was very much a coming of age, what can I say, a coronation of saying that, you know what, he's not the guy on the come up. He is the guy. He is the guy coming up. He's the guy that's literally going to lead us into this new generation, this new wave. So again, songs like that. And I don't know if you have any other thoughts that you want to share on that song specifically.
No, not on that song specifically. But I wanted to go to something more upbeat now.
I wanted to just like touch on another song that I'd say in terms of the subject matter that really stood out for me in terms of what he was trying to say, and that was Daddy Issues. I think for me, Daddy Issues is one of my favorite songs on the album as well, just because, you know, you can tell he's kind of sort of talking about, it's as if he's speaking from the perspective of a girl, a female, and, you know, it's like this young girl coming to Joburg, and he's like, you know, bet you made daddy so proud. Wow. And I'm just like, okay, at first I didn't get it, but now I'm just thinking, this is quite a interesting point of view, especially as a rapper, because, you know, rappers are very much known for being around, the Snapchat baddies, you know, the slay queens and all of that, and him basically being the point of view of just like, oh wow, look at you going around town, you know, the sleeping around, all that kind of stuff. But I'd say it's kind of interesting if you look back, the fact that 10 years later that song has aged significantly well, because it's kind of like a social commentary on, you know, the era that we're in now, especially the influencer era and baddies and all of that, and especially back then. And I'm not like trying to like bash on anything, I'm just saying the fact that he was talking about it. And again, rappers were not really talking about like the fact that, hey man, you know, Is it not kind of, the fact that, a lot of girls leaving home, going to the big city and, finding the next blessing that they can see. And just things, I feel like that was an interesting avenue for him to talk about. And I'd say that was one of the songs that really just in terms of a standout, in terms of like the message that he was trying to say, definitely very cool.
That was foreshadowing to the lifestyle that's prominent right now in Jozi.
Especially in Jozi. Yeah, and this album came out like 10 years ago. So again, that is significantly, he has aged very much, very well. So.
And he went deep, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
I bet your mama made the same mistakes.
I bet.
Now you're stuck with the maiden name, bruh.
I like how you're just like, hey man, I bet your mama made the same mistakes. It's like, damn.
That was crazy. Is that why you party like Taylor Gang?
Stuff like
that.
Again.
Bruh. Like, come on, bruh. Like, you could feel that.
Because again, you can tell he's not specifically talking to a specific girl. I feel like the girl is more of a metaphor for that generation that was basically bubbling up and coming up around that scene. And it's kind of interesting and ironic because that was the same baddies that he refers to in his songs in this album in terms of these are my honeys and all of that. So, it's a bit of like, okay, you're talking about it, but this is literally the type of lifestyle that you live. But I guess, again, I can credit him for actually talking about it because not a lot of artists are willing to have that kind of a conversation and really talk about something of that like nature at that point, especially because there wasn't really types of conversations about that. That was just what it was. So I'd say again, and for the fact that he was probably he hadn't even been a father at that point yet. So that was quite an interesting thing. So I'd say in terms of content, you can tell he was very much trying to say something. And I'd say his message really did resonate as well. But yeah, anything else in terms of content that you wanted to touch on probably?
I'd say the themes of success, struggle, love, and personal growth were like he tapped into those
definitely
perfectly, bro. I don't think for the soundscape of the album, which we're going to talk about in the next segment, I think there couldn't have been any other way for him to do it. There couldn't have been any other way for him to do it.
I agree.
We mentioned the Run Josie verses, we mentioned Daddy Issues, and even on the other songs like Abo Sim Dope.
You can tell, especially Sim Dope. That's you can. We didn't even know who the Sim Dope was actually about, and only 10 years later, we actually know who the Sim Dope is, and the lines kind of you can tell, especially. But I'd say, especially he tapping into very personal topics about his past, things that he had to go through, but
his personal journey,
basically up to that point, especially, and you can tell that was sort of he wanted to. You can tell with AKA, one thing that you can say is that he was always very honest and open in his music. Fact. He wanted to very much...
That was his personality.
He was very much someone who lived his life on the sleeve. Yeah. And again, very much touching on topics like love. You can tell the man was a lover. The man was definitely a lover. He was a very passionate lover.
Passionate, bro.
And, again, songs like Sunshine, songs like Let Me Show You are just some of the, songs where you can tell that he really wanted to... whomever it was in his life at that point, but just basically share what he wanted to say and be very unapologetic about that. Because I think artists talking about the insecurities was not anything new, because I think Kanye West was someone who really ushered in that mold in terms of artists who were very much honest about the fact that we have insecurities, this is how we feel about and stuff like that. Artists like Kanye West and 50 Cent. But in terms of here in SA hip hop, not really to that, or I wouldn't say to that extent, especially to that extent, and someone of that profile. I'm sure maybe we might miss people perhaps that you might know, but I'd say again, he very much, in terms of the content, you could tell he very much wanted to tap into various things. As you said, success, songs like Congratulate Me, very much a song of, just saying, hey, this is where I am, congratulate me, this is up till this point, I'm at this point in my life and all of that. So,
Rating?
I'd say content, I'll give it an 8. Definitely, I'd say it's an 8.
Right when I want to give a 9.
You lie, really?
This is a 9. Yeah. This is amazing content, bro. This is amazing content.
It is.
Fact that 10 years on, bro, and we're actually able to delve into this album and take out a lot of gems and a lot of knowledge and some things that we didn't actually consider back in the day when listening to this album.
It's funny you say that because I felt like I was I was like, even when I was like trying to like formulate, I thought I was giving away too many lines. You're actually convincing me now. Actually, I think I might actually have to.
Content,
it's amazing now. I think I'll have to give it a 9 as well. Now that you're saying it, actually, because again, it's what I can say. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Facts. It's very refreshing. So, but yeah.
Moving on to the next segment, production.
This is my favorite. I think this is my favorite segment for this album specifically because, yeah. What in terms of for you, what would you say the production in terms of for this album as well?
Shout out Tweezy. Shout out Master A Flat.
Yes.
Shout out Tazzy, man. Like, it was really, really something different, bruh. It pushed the levels, bruh. Like, even Tweezy mentioned it on the AKA Levels X tribute, that's what AKA wanted to do on this. That's what AKA
he was very much intentional about that, yeah.
And the soundscape is rich, bruh. Like, from every song, there's something that you want to take away from it. Most notably, I like the sample flip on All Eyes on Me, bruh. I like the sample flip. I like the tribute to... Let me get the classic artist. Was it Brenda Fassie?
It's Brenda Fassie and Ngiyagusaba. That's the song. Brenda Fassie's Ngiyagusaba. That's the...
They just added that mastered bass on it. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. And that was actually the major breakthrough for Tweezy, right?
The producer Tweezy, that was you could say that was really the major breakthrough because I think he's went on to collaborate with like artists like Nasty C and Tillerman and so on after that. But you can tell that was really like in terms of the highlights, you have to give a massive shout out to Tweezy because I'd say he's responsible for the Run Josie and All Eyes on Me, and you can tell that those are the two big songs that are very much like the highlights of in terms of from a just listening and from a commercial standpoint as well. So again, very much great job from him. But again, as you said, just this album, it just sounds so good. It really just, and I'm listening to the first song. You get into the first song, and again, you've got all these samples that you wouldn't hear unless you're very much like intentionally trying to. Because I'm looking at the different songs. I think what is it? The sample on Tim Dope is a SA house classic, Mama Africa by Umto, and again, oh Mama Africa, and again a plethora of different songs that you can just like. You can just hear that he just wanted to, all of the music that had influenced him up to that point that he's grown up with, he wanted to really just like make it a part of this project, and it sounds so good. It really just sounds so good, and such an amazing beat switch in Sim Dope as well. Very much a great song, and I'd say Vele for me, if I were just talking about this specific segment. The way that he was able, because there's a lot of criticism that artists have in terms of sample, you're just being lazy, but it's taking a sample.
It wasn't that case here.
It wasn't that case here as well, because taking a sample is one thing, but being able to flip it in a way that you're using the song in terms of what it sounded like, but adding your own twist to it and making it sound even better. Because again, if you're going to take a sample, and especially now, because he has a lot of house classic songs here, you can tell. The influence, you can tell his influence of house, kwaito, funk, a bit of it, jazz, synth, funk, all of these different things. You can tell that he really wanted to implement that into his sound. And again, if you hear these songs, you don't think that, this would work in a hip hop album. You wouldn't think so.
I like the range too. The way we go from hard hitting to like soft melodic tracks,
melodic,
like,
yes.
Let me show you Daddy Issues.
Yes.
And you mentioned Sim Dope, right? Like the trumpets in that song.
Yeah,
like they just
absolutely.
put you in victorious mode. That's a song I'd play as the first song if I buy a new car.
That's true, because it's just very much like a triumphant in the same vein. maybe not too simple, but is like a power. Kanye West power in terms of just like, very much like I'm doing this. This is something that I'm doing. So yeah, I like the fact that's actually a good take.
Yeah.
But again, different samples. Again, another sample that I wanted to touch on was on Congratulate.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I just feel like that song itself was just such a beautifully produced song.
It was.
And I'd say for me, that song itself is a 10 out of 10 for me, just because
I agree.
It sounds so good, and really just changed how people wanted to listen to music, because it was such a successful song at the time that it came out. It was a radio smash hit, and it was everywhere. But because, again, you could tell that every one of these songs, or you could tell that they were fresh. There was something different, something that we had not heard before. And as you said, AKA was very much intentional in the sense that he wanted to create a new sound in the sense that I want to take these sounds and I want to implement it into this hip hop thing, and I want to make it sound so good that everyone else is going to say, no, we don't want that. We want to hear this. We want to hear, this is what we want now. And yeah, I'd say, again, if we're going to take the name of this album Level, he really leveled up what he set. He pushed the boundaries and set a bar in terms of how SA music should sound, because I'd say ever since the release of such an album, like, it very much stepped up in terms of how SA music sounds, in terms of production, people just taking a lot of care and a lot of just like credence in terms of like, I want to make sure that this sounds incredible. And yeah, I'd say in terms of production, goodness me, man, I'd say for me, it really is the strong suit of what makes this album such a significant powerhouse in SA hip hop.
And the integration of African elements.
Yes.
SA hip hop, I want to say, the blueprint of what like SA hip hop can sound like. And I'd even go to the extent that it should sound like. The integration of African elements into South African hip hop.
No, I agree.
Because there was a point where this is not like a hit on these artists, but there was a point where like you could feel that we didn't have an identity. The sound, like, it was more American.
It was more, very much.
And I feel like we're back into that spot right now in the current state of SA hip hop. Hence why we're not seeing it as prominent as it is in the game. That's just my opinion and how I see it right now. But him and Casper played a very big role, and AKA too, in integrating Vernac, our own languages, into the sound, in integrating a new soundscape that felt South African.
It just felt like this is music for us, made by us, and it sounds like us.
Facts.
Again, so
that's why I give the production a 9.
A 9.
9 out of 10.
A 9 out of 10. Why a 9? Why if we're waxing lyrical, is this not the one part of the album that you can say really just like seems a bit flawless? Or
I don't think it wasn't perfect.
Okay.
It wasn't perfect.
It wasn't perfect.
I go back to Sunshine and
you're crazy, bro. Okay, remove your bias for the song itself.
No, that's not bias, bro. That's not bias, bro.
Bro, that's quite
bias.
Anyway,
That's
but okay, fine. But if you remove the song, okay, fine. If you remove the song, the content, what? Fine. You don't like it, it's fine, cool. But the sample flip that he did for that song is incredible. I think, what was it? You Are My High by the Buzzard's Original Savannah. It's a smooth jazz band from back in the day. Like, the fact that he was able to, like, bro, like.
But did it sit in context of the album? I feel like it was out of place, bro. Especially the track placement right after Sim Dope.
I mean, I disagree in the sense that I feel like, it's Sim Dope, it's Run Josie. It comes after Run Josie. Yeah. It's Sim Dope, it's Run Josie. But again, you can't just go banger for banger for banger. I feel like the placement.
I'm not saying that. I feel like that song should have been just removed from the album, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I feel like
that's
the transition
ridiculous.
from Run Josie to Congratulate would have been way better. That's just my opinion.
Well, yeah, that is your opinion.
Yeah,
but I'd say, again, in terms of, you can say what you want about the song itself, but I'd say I feel like it sounds very nice. It sounds very smooth. It sounds like a nice, cute summer's day out, having a cute picnic in J, with the cute cocktail type, and just, songs like that. And yeah, man, I'd say just overall, just to sum it up, I'd say again, it really just took how we listened to music and took it to a whole other landscape in terms of just like SA music and just at that time. And I think, a big credit has to be taken to the people that worked on it. Again, your Treesies, your Master A-Flats, and exactly. And
I don't know specifically who were the engineers on this one, but bro, it sounded clean, bro.
It sounded, you could tell.
Element, it was polished, bro. I like the way it was like. It sounded clean.
And again, I also want to just take it back to the point there, from Alter Ego to Levels. You can tell that there was a massive shift in terms of, you could tell that he was very much wanted to be intentional about how he wanted it to sound, because I'd say there's a few songs on Alter Ego where they sounded a bit rushed, a bit, or not really mastered to that extent. And this one, you can say that again, this sounds so crisp, so clean. So, yeah, man, honestly, in terms of production, really, I guess I'll give it a 9, just because, again, I don't want to say just 10 out of 10, because obviously maybe one might have, I'd say Pressure maybe is the one song that, again, I'd say did sound a bit off for me, out of place, and just it sounded like, that's the one song where it's kind of sounds like a dance revolution, dance type of song, just and it's very, you can tell you could tell he was trying to again push the boundary, but I feel like that was
the Yeezy influence there.
Yeah, that's the Yeezy influence, definitely. But yeah, I'd say I'll give it a 9. I just wanted to see why you were saying why you wanted to, but that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like it's dead at 9, bro. Amazing production.
Yeah.
To the last segment, bro. The most important. I'll always put emphasis on the replay value is big, bro.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have this baby here, bro. And when we're grandkids, grandparents.
When we're grandkids? I think we already are grandkids. No, okay.
We get to grandparent stage and our kids ask us, yo, pops, what were you listening to at that time?
Yeah.
We're just gonna take out this beautiful piece of artifact of South African music and just spin that record. Sit down and listen, my boy.
Yeah,
listen, and go and listen. Just listen to this masterpiece, bro.
Yeah. I'd say again, this is also another segment, one of my favorites in terms of when we formulated it, just because again, replay value is such an important part of when you want to make a project. And I'd say this album really has stood the test of time. I'd say the common phrase, age like fine wine. It really has aged like fine wine. It really is a project that has just, you can bump it 10 years later and you can still bump it 20 years later. It really just sounds it sounds so good. And yeah, man,
I like the fact that you said it sounds so good, because I think the production is the reason that this album is so replayable.
Yeah.
You can never get tired of the opening, the intro of Simdo.
Yeah, it's true.
You can never get tired of the opening Yaranjozi. Once you hear that thing, you just know.
Yeah.
You just know.
Yeah. And I think again, I tip my hat off to AKA and the people that he collaborated with, and just all of the people that played a hand in making this album, because you could tell that they wanted to make something that would last a lifetime. They didn't want to make, because again, music sometimes can be a time capsule in a certain time period and what was hot and happening in the time, and sometimes that can be to its detriment, because sometimes certain sounds don't really age well after a while sometimes, so I'd say in the sense that he really made a sound that really can just blend in with a lot of eras for for the future. And I'd say again, in terms of replay value, it definitely is right up there, because for the fact that this is an album that is always in the conversations as one of the best, if not the best, in terms of like SA hip hop and just like SA music as a whole. And yeah, I'd say replay value, I would put it really right up there as just one of the most I don't know, I don't even know what to say, just like one of the most I don't know,
everything we touched on, the artist performance, the engaging content, the amazing features, the stellar production, bro, everything just is in synergy, bro. I feel like I could go to an extent. Could I say that this is his magnum opus when we're looking at his discography?
I'd say,
is that a conversation for another?
I think that it's a conversation, because I'd say, he's dropped an album, like, I'd say in terms of his magnum opus, I would say so. I'd say that it wouldn't be it. Obviously, you can have an argument, but I'd say it's not a crazy shout to say that it is his magnum opus, because I would say again, this album was the genesis of what became the super mega, in terms of what became the mega superstar that was AKA Doro Mega. Like, you can pinpoint this very album and the songs and just a lot of, so yeah, I'd say definitely. Wait a second. I just remembered. I forgot. We didn't even mention thingy. What's this? Jealousy. I'm so mad at myself. I just remembered now. Jealousy.
The thing is,
in terms of
the problem with jealousy, it's the way it gets overlooked, is because I think it was the lead single for this album, or it came out.
It came out a year before. A year before the album actually released. I think it came out late 2013, if I'm not mistaken. So, but I'm just remembering now that again, that's another song. In terms of when we look at like how it sounded, again, it also adds on a lot in terms of a very nice, cute, poppy, vibey song, and another great, amazing sample flip. But yeah, I just wanted to add that there because I just feel like I would have been mad at myself. I just remembered now. I don't know why, but yeah.
I think rating wise, I think this is amazing replay value, bro.
100%.
9, bro. 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 10. I just feel like if we're looking at the criteria of replay value, again, people might say I'm being biased, whatever, which is fine. It's fine. I just feel like, again,
bro, it's not fine. It's not fine, bro.
But again, I'm just looking at, if we're looking at replay value, an album that you can sit and listen to after all these years, and the way that music has changed, the way that hip hop has changed, and you can still bump this and just say, this is valid. This is so valid. And literally for me, I'd give it a 10, 100%. In terms of, if we're looking at the criteria of what replay value is, the whole concept of what replay value is, I would definitely give it a 10 for me.
All right, bro. Let's just conclude the review of this amazing album.
Okay.
Overall, I think this is a great album, bro.
Mm-hmm.
A great album. And
great.
I've had this opinion like for a while now.
Yeah.
It's an 8 out of 10 for me. 8 out of from the first time I listened to it. From intro to outro, back to front to back. And now where like we decided that, you know what, we're gonna review this album.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back and listened to it again.
Yeah.
8 out of 10, bro. Great album, bro. Amazing. It's in SA hip hop history. Top 10 SA hip hop albums. Top 10 African hip hop albums.
Top 3.
Yeah,
not 3.
We are gonna do a ranking.
Yeah, we are down the line. But I just say, again, I'd say for me, in terms of my final rating, I'm not gonna give it a 10. Relax. I'm not gonna give it a 10. I will give it. I don't know if I should do it like a decimal, because I'd say maybe I'll also give it. It's like, nah, screw it. I'm gonna give it a 9. Actually, I'm gonna give it a 9. It's not perfect, but it's near perfect. Mm-hmm. I'd say it's not perfect, but it's near perfect. Just in terms of, again, all of the things that we've mentioned already, and so much more. It really just is such a great album to look back on and to speak about. Like, it's such an exciting album to talk about, just because it just has so many highlights. It has so many great moments, and yeah, for me, I'll give it a 9. I'll give it a 9 out of 10, and I will stand on that. And yeah, so.
Did you have like a young conclusion, Yana?
Yeah. I'd say again, just like in terms of to sum it all up, I'd say AKA knew what he was doing when he named this album. I think Levels was probably the most fitting name for this album, because it did that. It took SA hip hop to a very different level.
Facts.
And for the fact that we always look at 2014 when we talk about like, that was the start of what ushered in, the wave of, such a great era for music, especially for SA hip hop music at that point. And I'd say this, again, he really very much just took it from a lyrical standpoint, from a performance standpoint, from a commercial standpoint, an absolute juggernaut in every way. So I'd say, and again, being able to take in such different influences, kwaito, dance, electro, jazz, and putting it all together, and again, having so many collaborations, and it really just like working together. Because, when we look back, Vele, we always say, the power circle of Casper, KO, and AKA, and everyone else, probably beneath that. But we can always say that they are the ones who really just like took the game to a different level.
They were at the forefront, bro. They ANCDAEFF type shit. They were at the forefront.
Yeah, they were. But I'd say again, they really were. And again, projects like this, projects like Tulfelo, projects like Skanda Republic are such things such projects that really did such a massive service to SA hip hop, and really just made it the most commercial genre of South African music in that time.
Bro. Perfectly.
Exactly. So it again set the precedent, and yeah, man, it really set the bar very high. Did what others were not really willing or able to do, or not really. You could tell that he was very brave with this project.
Yeah.
And it is a project. Another thing, it is a project that appealed to the masses. It appealed to black, white, all these types of things, and especially in a country that's very diverse. You can tell that this was an album. It was an album that was very much, it did a lot and told a very unique story. And yeah, man, I just say, in terms of a timeless classic, the most important, if I can sum it up, the most important project in SA hip hop, the most important project in South African music, and an important part of no, honestly,
South African music.
Literally, it is, bro.
On,
it is literally.
Like bro.
I'm not. Genuinely, I'm not.
South African music.
SA music, SA hip hop is a part of South African music, is it not? It is a part of our story,
it is,
and especially in terms of like when we look at like how much especially like in terms of in the global scheme, I'd say literally we can't talk about SA hip hop and not talk about this album. Am I?
I agree
that's what
with
I'm
you
saying.
on that, but when
that's
you say the most important.
Okay, let me not be superlative. Okay, one of them.
Yeah.
Just to say, I'd say if not, but yeah, again.
Definitely solidified megas. But a question that I wanted to ask, when this album dropped, where did you think AKA would end up? Like, when this album dropped, he had 2 albums, right?
Up to that point, he had 2.
Alter Ego.
He had Alter Ego, and this was, the second is his sophomore, I'll say, yeah.
Would you like look at him and be like, yeah, this guy's going to be an old-timer?
100%, 100%. Just because, again, so many hits. Again, when you look at how many hits, for the fact that the first time that we re-listened to this album for the purpose of this review, I just had to like say, oh my goodness, there are so many hits on this album. And literally, this is all in the same time period of 2013, 2014, going into 2015. A lot of these singles where they had their times to shine, and it's just banger after banger after banger. And you're just like, wow, this album is, to the point where it's even overwhelming, the way that it's just like, so.
Still carrying SA hip hop DJs. Come on, bruh. So we love Levels, we love that, but come on.
Yeah, I'd say, again.
It's still, this song is, All Eyes on Me is still carrying, bro. It's still the highlight of the DJ set.
Club banger, yeah. But yeah, I'd say as well as that, I'd say just to sum it all up into a nice, cute little bow.
Yeah.
This was an album that really leveled up the game
a couple of times.
I just want to
AKA L.E.S.
No. It leveled up the game, and it leveled up AKA stature in terms of just him being seen as a great artist and him being seen as a heavyweight. I think now you can also say the fact that this kind of the album and the songs kind of just like say that, okay, this guy, as you said, he's like, wow, this guy,
it catapulted everyone.
Exactly.
I think that was KO's return, right?
Return.
That was let me say major return.
Yeah.
To the forefront of our screens and radio and stuff.
Yeah, because I'd say up to that point again, he was still with Tear Gas, so that was his first round as a
fact check there. I think even though he dropped singles leading up to Scandal Republic, I think this one was where bro.
Yeah, true. So again,
AKA's impact on the game
was very much a very much evident, and again very much important. So I think a lot of people who are enthusiasts of SA music and SA hip hop look back at this album very fondly, and I think we've said all that we needed to say.
You've said all you needed to say, bro. You said everything, bro.
Yeah. So
long live Super Mega, live long.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think
that's it, bro.
That's pretty much it. Please let us know what you think. Tell us what you think of our takes and our ratings, our rating system, how you think it works, and yeah, I think, is there anything else you wanna say before we sign off?
Just give it another spin. After watching this review, just give the album another spin.
Yeah,
if you have any doubts
just listen to
of our rating,
just listen to
just give it another spin.
To it. Yeah, just listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all from me. Stay tuned in.
Shout out.